they did a study across the entire US and they found something very interesting. They found the areas that had the lowest amounts of lithium had the highest levels of suicide and depression. Today's video is on diet and mood, something I'm writing a book about right now, and I've been working on for 3 years and researching for about 15. So I'm Barton Scott. If you haven't seen one of my videos before, I was a chemical engineer before I became a nutritionist, and then later supplement founder in this space. And the interesting part, the most interesting part about this entire category of nutrition to me is how it affects our mood and our ability to improve our lives, to take action, to feel different, to show up as we want to be, to go after goals and pursue who we want to be in life. And what I've found is there are ways to make that easier, to make that better, to improve our results in the world. And that can absolutely result in getting a job where you get paid more. Fun fact, actually, people that are healthier make about 33% more per year, which also compounds nicely if you understand compounding. So, think about that, a raise every few years and what that could do for your life, over the course of 20 years. So I look at health as a huge investment opportunity, and I look at mood as a huge investment opportunity through nutrition. And what I found is, in fact, going back during the pandemic, there was just so much, overall stress in the world, and you could feel that. And I knew that a lot of people were headed toward a mental health crisis. And so I created something called Upgraded Mood. I could tell you about it later. But what I really want to tell you about is just the nutrients today. And so, there's an interesting study around lithium. And we think of lithium as a drug. And at high doses, very, very high doses, it's considered a drug. But it's also a supplement, something that's in your groundwater. And they did a study across the entire US and they found something very interesting. They found that the areas that had the lowest amounts of lithium had the highest levels of suicide and depression. I read that, it stuck in my mind about, wow, okay, that's very important. There's a lot of people on SSRIs, which are mood enhancing and mood stabilizing drugs. And there was an article in Newsweek on the front page, and this was several years ago, that said, that SSRIs had been proven to be less effective than a sugar pill. And so you can look that up, that cover up yourself. Just search Newsweek, SSRIs, I'm sure it'll come up. And that's a huge shame, because there are billions of dollars being spent on these drugs, and they're just making people's health worse. And so a lot of people in the know this, and a lot of people still don't have good solutions. So I set about thinking about how to teach you to understand what you need, really simply. So you need magnesium, you need lithium, you need plenty of salt, like good quality salt. Turns out a lot of people are low in salt when they're trying to eat a good diet, especially if they're doing a lot of sauna, they're running a lot, they're sweating a lot, they're moving a lot, hot yoga, all the hard workouts that you're seeing out there. It's all great as long as you're also nourishing your body. So think about that next time. We also have a product, like I said, you can check it out if that makes it easier for you. And actually a couple bonuses. I want to give you a couple bonuses here. So chromium, you might have heard of chromium and it being good for blood sugar. It turns out when your blood sugar is doing this all day, maybe because you ate a croissant in the morning or a banana even, depending on the person, that blood sugar can go on quite the ride. You can go up and down, and you can go from a state of like intense focus for a few minutes and to an absolute crash, and therefore you might feel like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed now and can't get through my day. So understanding that, we also put chromium in there, trace minerals as well, to fill in a bunch of gaps. That was all important, but then there's another ingredient in there, something called fulvic acid. Fulvic acid's really cool because it can carry about 60 times its weight of nutrients into a cell. And that's fantastic. That's exactly what we need, because a lot of us are taking in supplements, and this is a core thing of what we do with upgraded formulas is we help people actually use and digest, assimilate, it's a fancy word, but to get the supplements and nutrients they're taking into their actual bloodstream so that it can nourish their body. The other thing that I want to mention is that you can actually test for this, and we look and we actually see personality through people's at-home hair test that we offered too. And this test changed my life, the early version of what we have today. That's far easier to do and a lot prettier and just easier to read and everything. And we give you a consultation with a nutritionist that's trained specifically in understanding this test. So what that means is you can show up to a phone call, a Zoom call, and hear about your personalized results, which by the way will be different if you did them 3 months from now. So it's something that if you improve, it's sort of like looking at a map. You look down at the map and then you're driving, you want to look at the map again if you're going to get to your destination. And so what I've realized is that we need to put together a package. So we have that, you can check that out too. What I love is that we can actually see a tendency for things like bipolar, low energy, thyroid, low thyroid, and bring that performance up of the body, and therefore the person sort of blossoms back into their full self again. And this is how diet is affecting your mood. It's what you're eating, it's what you're supplementing. It may be what you're supplementing and not absorbing, as it was the case for me and so many people that we've helped. And so when you're not supplementing and you're not eating the right things, or you're eating the right things but it's from a depleted soil, which unfortunately our soil today, as you might have heard, has about half of the nutrients it had 50 or 60 years ago. And it's the reason why our grandparents were really the last slim generation out there. So you can see there's a lot of things, it all ties together, and that's why we have plenty of other videos for you. And you can click that link right above here and see the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.